listening to the Walt's World Podcast. Join your hosts, John and Kaley, as they banter about all things Disney, including Disney parks, resorts, dining, fashion, and movies. They'll keep you up to date with the latest Disney news and rumors, and they'll share their best tips and insight to make sure you have the best Disney vacation possible. So to all who tune into this happy place, welcome. It's the Walt's World Podcast.
Hey friends, it is October the 23rd, 2018, and this is episode number 26 of the Walt's World Podcast. I'm your host, John, and we're going to jump into part 2 of Kaley and Cheddar Biscuits' Disneyland Trip Report.
So we did, for my birthday dinner, I wanted to do the Paint the Night dining package to make sure that we got a good spot for it. And so we ate at the wine country that they have there, and so it was a prefix menu where you get 3 courses, so like a soup or a salad, an entree, and a dessert. The food was phenomenal, nothing to complain about. I mean, regular Italian food, fettuccine alfredo, spaghetti. They had an Italian wedding soup that was really good, or a house salad that you could get in the beginning, and then they had tiramisu or what was the dessert? Panna cotta.
Panna cotta.
Yeah, it's just like a chocolate dessert
kind of thing.
So that was really good. I would eat there again. I mean, it was a little bit, I think for the dining package, it was $49 per person. And then if you wanted to get the ribeye, you paid an extra $10. And there was like some other upgrades that you can do that you paid a little bit more. And then for the reserved seating that we got, we had a really nice spot. I mean, you had to get to the line to get into the reserved seating pretty early, but even still it didn't completely fill up. So when they removed the rope and the parade was going, there was still like, you weren't crammed, if that makes sense, which I thought was nice. The parade, first of all, started 30 minutes after it was said it was going to, which was highly annoying if you had already been waiting there an hour to save your spot. And then when it started, it was very spread out, where I'm used to, I guess, Walt Disney World, where everything just kind of flows together. It's one after the other. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, like, I saw Punzi, like, the cast members had to let Punzi get on her little stand in the parade. Like, I guess, like, I don't know what happened where she wasn't on her stand in the beginning. So, I mean, for the first time watching it, as far as, like, the lights and the parade itself, it was amazing. I would watch it again, but it just, for some reason that night, they just didn't seem like their normal selves when they were doing it. I don't know what it was. So, we rode Incredicoaster again this day.
And Cheddar Biscuits rode it with you.
Yes.
Talk about it, Cheddar Biscuits.
So, the first time they rode it, this was a ride that we all knew was going to be a big one for us as soon as we went on the trip. And the first time they made the fast passes without me because Kaley knew I don't do upside down coasters. So I kind of just watched it for a while, and I was watching the coaster go, and there's that one loop, but it's not a huge loop. It's not terrifying or anything, but there is a loop regardless. So, I mean, there's a launch, and I can't say if I care for coasters with a launch because I don't normally ride them because most of them tend to go upside down too. But I watched it for a while, built up the courage, and then I was like, once I'm on it, there's nothing I could do about it, so I might as well just do it. And I was a little nervous in line. I was like a little antsy, but...
No, he was straight up panicking. He's like, Kaley, my heart hurts, Kaley. And he's like, I'm only doing this because it's your birthday, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. Like, kind of making me feel bad about it. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to drag him on this and then him die. Like, cause then that'd be I would feel responsible. I told him, I was like, if you feel like something medically wrong is happening right now, don't get on it. And he was like, no, I just, anyways. So
and your dad gave a little encouragement, right? Your dad gave him a little encouragement.
Oh yeah. Everybody was, my whole family was giving so much encouragement. They're like, don't be a girl, like get on it, all this stuff.
So much encouragement.
They're like, come on, it's not even that bad. Like basically because that's how I got into roller coasters. My dad didn't give me a choice. He said, here's the Hulk, we're going on it. Like, that was it. So me and my sister, we grew up.
John, don't ride the Hulk. Don't do it. Don't do it. I swear. It's the worst. I hate it so much.
Right. Me and my sister are used to it. I mean, my dad, he didn't care if we wanted to ride it or not. We rode it. I mean, honestly, if we told him we didn't want to ride it, he wouldn't make us ride it. But he loves the thrill rides just like I do now. So it was always just a thing. We'd ride. And, I never thought twice about it. I had never had a fear of them like Cheddar Biscuits had. But
so I did it, and amazing. It was good. It was such a smooth ride, honestly. It really just made it that much easier. And just the loop is kind of towards the end of the ride, so there was a lot to it before we got there. So there was a few drops and a few turns, and I was having a lot of fun. So by the time I did get to the loop, I didn't know it was coming, and it was over that fast. So
does this mean that when we're down there over Thanksgiving, we're gonna ride Rock and Roller Coaster? Is this happening?
It's confirmed, and I'm gonna wait for you guys for it to be my first time.
Oh my goodness, first row.
Oh yeah, I did first row on the Incredicoaster too. We ended up riding it a few times.
That's amazing. I'm so proud. I feel like a father and his son has just like accomplished something for the first time.
I was so happy when we got on it because I didn't understand it, like I said. And I'm like, just try it one time. Like, if you try it and you hate it, I'll leave you alone forever about it. But the fact that we had been dating for almost 6 years and he had never even tried a roller coaster like that was just killing me. So I was so happy when he rode it. And then he actually loved it. He was like, wow, that was so, so good. And we rode it again at night later on in the trip. And again, everything changes at night.
Was it harder, Cheddar Biscuits, for you to tell Kaley she was right about upside down coasters or to get on it for the first time?
Well, I didn't actually admit to her she was right. She kind of just took it and ran with it because in the photo I was smiling really hard. So...
Nice. I love it. I'm so glad. And kind of like upset at the same time because like I love Rock and Roller Coaster, but to ride it like 15 times in a row, like Krista and Kaley like to do, I'm not a big fan. So I like always like to have you as like let's just go do something else. Yeah. I'll hang out with him. But thanks a lot now. Now I'm stuck.
He's no longer a decoy for you now. Sorry, John.
Blast.
So day 3 was just kind of us going back and forth between the parks, getting to do everything that we hadn't do before. Oh, wait. We need to talk about, we went to Downtown Disney on the second day, too.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead. So Downtown Disney.
Yeah. So Downtown Disney.
How is it compared to Disney Springs? I know it's a completely different place.
No, Disney Springs, 1,000 times better than Downtown Disney. Downtown Disney is so small. Like, it's literally just like a few shops and that's it. Like, nothing. I mean, there's restaurants, of course, and they have like some other shops that aren't Disney related there, like we have at Disney Springs. But I thoroughly enjoy Disney Springs better than Downtown Disney. I'm glad that we went and we got to check it out because it's so convenient having both the parks and Downtown Disney right there. So, we had a little bit of time in between the reservation, and that's when we went to go there. And like I said, I'm glad that we did, but I mean, Disney Springs is way better.
So day 3, you guys are just kind of trying to, because it's your last day, right? You're just trying to get as much in as you can at both parks that you wanted to do.
Right. So this is the day we kind of tried some new things that we hadn't tried, and that we were rewriting things that we wanted to reride.
What did you ride that you hadn't?
Haunted Mansion Holiday. And then we also rode Peter Pan. And I think that's
It's a Small World.
And we did It's a Small World, too.
Roger Rabbit.
And the Roger Rabbit spin.
Oh, my gosh. Roger Rabbit.
Yes. So let's just start with the day. First, we went to the Jolly Holiday Bakery for breakfast. And there it's really awesome because they're known for their grilled cheese and tomato soup. So going there for breakfast, you don't expect them to have it, but they have 3 breakfast options. They have a croissant, which is like your typical breakfast sandwich. And then what else do they have?
The croissant, the grilled cheese, the quiche, and then pastries that were available.
Yeah, so they had the quiche, the croissant, and then the grilled cheese and the tomato soup as like breakfast entrees. And then of course they have the regular muffins and cinnamon rolls and stuff like that. So so Cheddar Biscuits got the croissant sandwich and I got the tomato soup and grilled cheese. I really like
Breakfast of Champions.
Breakfast of Champions. I don't like eggs, as I've said on here many times before. I'm not going to get anything that has eggs in it for breakfast. So it was so good though, and I'm so glad that I tried it. The tomato soup is way better than the one that's at Toy Story Land, because they have the tomato soup in Toy Story Land. It was just much more creamy and much more like realistically tomato soup, if that makes sense. And the grilled cheese was way better too than the one that I had in Toy Story Land when I tried it.
So yeah, Kaley's grilled cheese tomato soup, amazing. I ended up taking a few bites out of it, couldn't resist. But that bacon, egg, and cheese croissant, for anybody that is a fan of eggs and breakfast sandwiches, it was amazing. Like we said, Flo's Cafe was probably the best breakfast we had, but if that was 11 out of 10, this is 10 out of 10. Or if it was 10 out of 10, this is 9.9.
So, and I also had the pumpkin muffin there, which was really good too, like super moist. The only thing I didn't like about it was it had pineapple in it, and I'm not used to like... Yeah, some people put pineapple in their pumpkin, like bread and stuff like that.
I've never heard of that ever.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until that day, because
I'm not upset at it.
I wish it wasn't in there.
Oh.
I wish it was just like regular pumpkin bread, but it was still really good. And then after that, we went to It's a Small World. It's a Small World. I love the outside of it compared to Walt Disney World. There's just a lot more to it. It's a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And it starts outside, which is unique to ours because ours is completely inside.
What was it? Did you like all the characters throughout it?
Yes, that was the best part. And that's why I like it better than ours, is because there was like Lilo and Stitch, Cinderella, Ariel, all of those things. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, we took the extra time writing it to stop and point out all the characters that we were able to find.
It was a lot of fun. After that, we headed to Toontown.
Oh my God, that's I've said it several times. Like, I'm really excited about this. But Toontown, oh my God, like, please don't let it disappoint me. Don't talk crap about it.
I don't have any crap to talk about it. It was exactly what you expected it to be. Mickey and Minnie's house, Donald's house, Chip and Dale's tree house. It was so good. We rode Roger Rabbit Spin.
Oh my God, I love Roger Rabbit. If you've never seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's on Netflix. Go right now, tonight, whenever you listen to this, and watch it. Watch it.
Yeah,
it's classic 80s.
Yeah.
80s
and
Disney.
the ride was really good too. I mean, for it being Roger, it's just such a unique ride. There's no Roger Rabbit anything at Walt Disney World. So yeah, I liked it. After that, we looked into watching the Mickey's Magical Map, and that was closed on the last day that we were there. And I was so upset because had I known, I would have tried to watch it another day. And then I saw that it was open on Friday. And of course we weren't there on Friday. And I'm like, because that was like one of the things I really wanted to watch, because I heard so many like phenomenal things about it. But that's okay. I mean, hopefully there will be a next time. So after that little disappointment, what did we do?
The train, and we took it to Haunted Mansion.
Oh yeah, we took the train around. They have the same train that like goes around the perimeter. So yeah, we took that around to the other side, to the New Orleans area, and we got in line for Haunted Mansion. We had a max pass for that.
And I know you hate the Haunted Mansion in Disney World.
Oh yeah, but this, amazing. The Hatbox Ghost that everybody talks about is so realistic. It's kind of terrifying, like even with it being like the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. I really enjoyed the Hatbox Ghost. I thought he was super cool. But just the whole overlay was so well done. The amount of like details and like attention to detail that goes into every single little thing. Even the butlers that are like the cast members are wearing the same tie that Jack wears. Like it was every little thing that they could have thought of. And when I watched the Decorating to Disney that they do on Freeform like last year, when they talked about them putting together the overlay, and it's just like, wow. And for not even liking the Haunted Mansion, like you said, it's not even the Haunted Mansion at the end of the day. Like, it's just a Nightmare Before Christmas ride. When they put that overlay over it, he completely takes it over. Amazing. The Oogie Boogie was probably my favorite part. I love Oogie. But the Jack with Zero was so good, and the animatronics on him were good.
Haunted Mansion isn't one of our favorite rides. Kaley, she loves the movie and she likes the ride itself. It's just that we're not fans of it always stopping and getting stuck on it and always being the same.
You
thing.
like the Haunted Mansion movie?
She does.
Yeah, why not?
I'm not a fan at all.
Are you serious? The one with Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, I mean, we've never watched it. I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid. I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorite Disney movies, but when I was a kid, my sister and I watched that movie a lot, like every Halloween.
That's so weird.
But
That's
no,
like
the Haunted
worst
Mansion, I don't
movie.
even like the Haunted Mansion, the one at Walt Disney World.
No,
just in general.
That's what he said.
Yeah, no, I don't like
He
it.
didn't like it. I just
But
can't believe
even-
you like that movie.
Yeah, when I was a kid, who doesn't? Now, would I say, oh my God, you have to watch the Haunted Mansion? No.
Yeah,
But
probably.
probably.
Probably. So going back to that, the Haunted Mansion, I am definitely not a fan of. I've never really been a huge fan of it, but every Halloween, my family, we always watch The Nightmare Before Christmas. And so this one in particular, I was pretty excited to get on, but I really didn't have high hopes for it because I knew it was really just the Haunted Mansion with Nightmare Before Christmas elements thrown into it. But when we actually got on it, they did such a good job. This one, I ended up putting it number 2 on my top 3, only behind the Incredicoaster. They just did such an amazing job. And this is coming from a ride that I hate, that they just simply did over. It was so good. All the elements of Nightmare Before Christmas that they tied in, there wasn't a single part of the ride where there wasn't Nightmare Before Christmas in it. And like Kaley said, the animatronics on it were top notch, really good. My favorite part was Jack and Zero going into the graveyard. It was great.
Even like, so you know the little headstones that sing on the Haunted Mansion? There was pumpkins over them and the pumpkins were singing. Like, it's just every little detail. It was amazing. Ugh, I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah, it was a complete overhaul.
What did we do? We just kind of rerode rides that we had already rode. We stood in line for Peter Pan, waited about 40 minutes for that. Because the thing with their Fantasyland rides, there's no fast passes for them at all. So you have to wait. So like the Mr. Toads and the Pinocchio, you have to wait. So even the like Alice in Wonderland ride that they have, you have to wait.
We did actually ride the Monsters Inc. ride as well, which was by Mission Breakout in DCA. We didn't mention that.
Oh, I love that. That was like really, that's like top 10 favorite rides of the trip. I mean, there's too many to,
All right, so let's talk top 5s of things, or our top favorite things. So top 5 rides at Disneyland DCA.
Number 5 for me would be the Pirates of the Caribbean, because it's a classic ride. We all agree. We all love it. This one was just a little bit longer than ours. A little bit better.
My number 5 is Radiator Springs Racers.
Number 4 for me, I'd have to go Mission Breakout, because, like I said, classic ride, great theme. It's very good. It's just not enough for me to have it much higher.
Number 4 for me is the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion overlay.
Number 3 for me, it's really a tough one. It's really hard. This is where like I would have Radiator Springs Racers. That I was a big fan, really impressed with the whole Cars Land, everything. I'd really have to have it up there.
Number 3 for me is Mission Breakout.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, I'm putting Nightmare Before Christmas, because this is a ride that I absolutely hated. I wouldn't even consider riding it. I completely avoid it every time we're at the park. But this one, it gave me a change of heart. I told Kaley I wish they brought this to Walt Disney World, because I would actually ride this ride. But going back to number 3, another one that I kind of had tied for that spot was Indiana Jones with the Radiator Springs Racers.
My number 2 is Indiana Jones. Loved it. Obsessed. Number 1?
And
All right, big moment.
number 1, I feel like everyone sees this coming. It's the Incredicoaster.
Incredicoaster for me too.
Can't beat it, hands down. My first upside down roller coaster. It really is just a great ride. It's so fun.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the Incredicoaster. I can't say enough about any of them on my top 5. They're all phenomenal.
let me just ask you a bunch of random questions that I have. Like, in terms of crowd level, like we know how crowded it can be at WDW when it's a busy day or busy time of year. What's crowd levels Disneyland? Is it feel more crowded because it's a smaller park and stuff's kind of more squished together? Like what do you guys say about that?
To me, it was still crowded. The third day is when we noticed it the most, on Thursday, and I think that's because everybody was coming in for their weekend trips on Thursday. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, it was crowded, yes, but I noticed it more on the third day.
Yeah, I disagree. I'd say like the first 2 days, we really, like, everything was 30-minute wait, like, on average, maybe tops. Like, some were 15 minutes, some you just walked right on.
Nightmare Before Christmas was a solid, like, 120 the whole trip.
Yeah, that was a long one. But I mean, for the most part, though, most of the rides, like I said, on average, it wasn't anything crazy because I'm used to WDW, where if you want to get on the good rides, you have to have a fast pass. You can't even think about riding those rides unless you're willing to wait over an hour.
Talk about Fantasmic.
That was the biggest letdown for me during this whole trip.
Because Fantasmic at Disney World, Hollywood Studios, you walk in, you have a seat.
We have a stadium.
Seating. We have a stadium for
we have
it.
a whole separate stadium.
Disneyland, it's just in like the Liberty Square, the Rivers of America area. You just
right where the New Orleans is, right by Haunted Mansion, all of that. And we did not know that, so we got there on the last night.
You didn't?
No, I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that. Everybody raves about Fantasmic, but they never once have mentioned to me that there's no stadium. And maybe I hadn't asked or what, but so whatever. We get there and we're asking the cast member. It's like 45 minutes before the show, and we're like, which is usually sufficient amount of time to be able to get a spot, at least at Walt Disney World. It's not going to be like the best spot in the world, but it's still sufficient. And she's like, oh, standing is over there. And she's like, this is just reserved. So we're like, okay. Or she's like, general is over there and this is reserved. So we're like, okay, general. What the heck is general? So, and then we get over there and we see people like, it's literally like you're standing in the middle of the regular walkway during the day. And they just put a rope there. And just like just the execution of it, like people being able to get in front of you. And then there's all these trees up around the area because like you said, it's just right smack dab in the middle of the park. So there's things around it. I definitely I liked the show. I thought the show was great from what I could see. With me being shorter, there were a lot of people in there, and I'm not super aggressive when it comes to like things like that. So I mean, I did, whatever. People got in front of me, whatever. I don't know. I mean, as far as the show, I liked it. I wish I had a much better view. As far as the stadium and all of that, I like Walt Disney World's better. I mean, I still thought it was a good show. I like the one at Walt Disney World too. So
just the execution of it wasn't that great because, for example, it'd be like if they tried to do our Fantasmic around Tom Sawyer Island. It's kind of just
that'd be a disaster.
Yeah, it's obstructions, and like we got there 45 minutes early. We actually had a decent spot to watch the show, but as you can imagine, once the mob started coming in, it got a little crazy.
But at least we know for next time, though. That's kind of the thing of like going to a new park for the first time is you don't know everything. Like at Walt Disney World, we know the ins and outs of everything almost. I mean, I like to think that we know everything. But
we have a podcast. We know everything.
Right, exactly.
Duh.
But going to Disneyland and, kind of being not completely in the dark, but still not knowing everything, I think we'll definitely be more prepared for next time as far as, what to wait for, what to eat, spend our money on, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you try a churro?
We had 2 churros.
Yes.
And how do they compare to Disney World?
Amazing. So much more fluffy, so much more like what you want out of a churro. Cinnamon sugar. The second time we had it with icing, and that was so yummy. They were great. We also had other really good snacks. We had the Twisty parfait at Pixar Pier. That's the lemon and blue raspberry, and that was so good. Like for you're reading it and you're like, lemon and blue raspberry, does that even go together? But it did. It complemented each other so well. And it's like blue raspberry icy. and then lemon soft serve. It was so good.
We had the Jack Jack Nom Nom cookie too. That was so good. It was a fresh out of the oven cookie. It was amazing.
Yeah, they serve it warm, so it's just all melty. We need to talk about the Pixar Pal Around too. The Ferris wheel. That was my living nightmare. So we're like, okay, we were in line for Little Mermaid and you can see it. And so this is kind of when we were talking.
It's a Ferris wheel.
When we're talking about it, we're like, okay, well, let's ride it. Are we going to do the swinging or are we going to do the standard? My dad's like, oh, let's do the swinging. Like, come on, come on, let's do the swinging. I'm like, okay, we'll do the swinging. I don't know why on earth I ever thought that I would enjoy anything of this sort because it swings.
Yeah, it's on like an oval shaped track. Your Ferris wheel cart, and so as you can imagine, as the Ferris wheel goes around, your cart moves and like swings.
Like literally our cart went from like a regular Ferris wheel position to tilted. Like I'm looking down at my sister and my dad who are sitting across from us. And there's like no lap bar or anything.
The heck?
So Kaley was screaming.
I panicked. Like I don't think I've screamed that hard on a ride out of sheer terror ever. And I was crying. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, me and my sister were crying.
Oh, my God.
It was terrifying. I would never, ever do the swinging again. I literally went on my Insta story right after that. And I'm like, they do not give enough of, like, a warning. And that made me mad, too. Because had I known that it, like, sure, you're watching it and, like, you see people screaming or what. I don't know. I mean, just from watching it, you don't think it's that bad.
It seems like it was your fault, Kaley, ultimately, that you just didn't pay attention.
I don't think I paid attention. Like I said, I wanted to try it because other than that, it's a regular Ferris wheel, just Pixar themed. But that was terrifying. Of course, John and my dad are just like laughing at me and my sister who are like completely terrified for our lives, like crying.
So it sounds overall, though, Disneyland is totally worth it. Do you think that how many days? It seems like 3 days was not enough.
No, we covered a lot. We did the really good stuff, I think. But there was a lot of rides we didn't do in Fantasyland. There was more rides at Disneyland we didn't do. More rides at DCA we didn't do. But I'm happy.
Do you think if you had 4 whole days, 2 at each park, do you think that would, or do you need a whole week?
I think a week, probably. Just because if you want to try all the shows, the parades, if you want to eat a lot of like the snacks and stuff, to me, a week would have been nice because, I don't know. I mean, I think you're not as rushed then. If you do 4 days, I think you're still going to feel a little bit rushed. If you did 5 full days, and then that leaves you room to take more breaks too. Doing the 3 days and us rushing around, like we were so tired to be able to like have more time and do it. I know I'm like so spoiled. I'm like, we were so tired. Like, and there's people.
The whole 3 days of being at the park.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so tired.
I know.
My feet hurt so bad.
But it was. I'm so happy with what we were able to do in the 3 days that we did have. And I would do the 3 days over again if, given the opportunity, of course. But I still know that there's more ground to cover. Like I said, I'm so grateful and so happy for everything that we got to do. But it was just a lot to do in 3 days. Like me and Cheddar Biscuits were there every day from open to close. Like my family went back to the room because it's tiring. It's a lot of work. And I think that's something that we take for granted, being able to go to the parks at Walt Disney World all the time and just being able to go and spend a couple hours because there's no pressure. Where there, it was like a lot of pressure. You have 3 days. You have a lot to get done. So to me, I just say 5 days would be nice just to be able to like relax a little bit more and take it all in and not. Yeah, I mean, had we not rode things over again, we probably could have gotten everything done. But that's just what we wanted to do, and I'm so glad that we got to do everything we did.
So you guys didn't ride the Matterhorn bobsled?
It was closed.
Oh, no.
I know. It was under refurbishment. I was so upset when we got there and I saw that. I was like, oh, I really wanted to do that.
Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. There were some things like the Mickey, the show that I wanted to watch, the Mickey's Magical Map and that. So
yeah, needless to say, we'll be back.
Thank you guys so much, Cheddar Biscuits. It was an honor having you the legend.
It was a pleasure to be on.
I know we've gotten a lot of questions about wanting to hear and see Cheddar Biscuits. And so all of you out there, you've gotten to hear him finally.
He's got a lot to say.
I know. But thank you so much for coming on and being a part. And so that's it for this week's episode. If you loved this week's episode, make sure you go rate us on iTunes. If you've been to Disneyland, let us know what some of your favorite things or must-dos are that maybe Cheddar Biscuits and Kaley didn't mention, so that when we all go back or we all go for the first time, we'll not miss out on those things. So shoot us a message on Instagram at Walt's World Podcast, or shoot us an email, waltzworldpodcast@gmail.com. So that's it for the show. I'm John.
And I'm Kaley. We'll see you next week.